as is the most said phrase to my students back in Norway, shut up. I will need you to have papers, and I will need you to try and follow whatever I'm doing on. Okay. I will need you to try and follow whatever I'm doing on the whiteboard, and I will be grading you very, very strictly. And if I see any one of you drawing anything more detailed than a stick man, you will fail and get a very angry look. So no good art whatsoever in this class, because good art clogs you down and makes you do things slow. Okay, I'm going to talk about how to improvise a story, and hopefully how to give you some tools to come up with ideas. And most of these ideas will be silly, but silly is always the best way to start. So first of all, we'll need 4 random words. So, and they can be whatever you want. So, if you there.
Me?
Yes.
A big red rubber ball.
Rubber ball, and it's red. That's very detailed.
Yay.
Oh, I drew a ball. Okay.
Chainsaw.
And a chainsaw. That's a chainsaw. That's the best chainsaw I ever saw. Okay, you.
Pineapple.
Pineapple. I like that.
Pineapple.
I do not know how to draw pineapples. You.
A sponge.
Hmm?
A sponge.
A sponge. This is clearly, you know, if you combine all these, you clearly get a massacre on the beach, and we do not want to draw that. But I can't draw a massacre in front of you, but the beach ball, the pineapple, the sponge, which I assume is a sea sponge, makes for a...
Oh, it's the beach scene.
Okay, I will draw it just for you.
Is he chopping pineapples with a chainsaw?
Oh yeah, the pineapples. Okay, this is... If you have 4 random items like this, you can combine them to something, but it might be difficult, because what you're lacking is attention between... The items are completely unrelated, and what you're lacking is logical tensions to contrast to bring them together. So I will need more random words from you, and I will draw them with my awesome art skills on your whiteboard. One of you that didn't give me a word last time. Perhaps you who are intensely not staring at me. Yes.
A chair.
A chair. That's a chair, and it's even in 3D. You next person? Hmm?
A TV.
A TV. We have antennas on our TV because our technology been modern, yeah. And you?
Me?
Yeah.
Doorknob.
What?
Doorknob.
Doorknob. Are you calling me a doorknob? That's not nice. Yeah, it's not red, but it's that's a doorknob. Okay, I will watch, I will see the door thingy above, and I will draw it like that. Okay, I think we'll stick with 3 here, because right now what we're going to do is find an opposite of whatever these things are. And the opposite of a, what is the opposite of a chair? It doesn't need to be an actual opposite, but something that's as opposite as...
Beanbag.
A beanbag is pretty opposite. I know how to draw beanbags. And the opposite of a TV...
Book.
A broken TV. I'll go with book. Because your books always makes for smart thinking exercise, yeah. That's a beautiful book. And I'll just say that the opposite of a doorknob must be a lock. Okay. Now, how can we try to combine these things? And now we don't need to combine every one of them, but there are always a lot of story potential in conflict. And so all of these stories are very serious, unfortunately. For instance, it's a scathing critique of the youth of America and of the world who do not read books anymore, but just watch TV, and therefore are missing out on such classics as Thomas the Tank Engine and other great works of Western literature. So, but that's not really a good story. And you know, you can make links other places, like being a padlock to your beanbag is is the softest of all trouble you can get into. And we can try combining more of them, because yeah, if you're getting padlocked to a beanbag and forced to watch Oprah Winfrey 24 hours a day, that is very soft torture. You know, because you're comfortable in your beanbag, but you got this evil thing in front of you. And you know, by having options where there are some contrasts, I think it's easier to come up with ideas. And now I will give you some words. I can make some words that have to do with Norwegian cuisine. So, first of all, rotten fish.
What?
Yes, a rotten fish. That's what we like to eat. If you all draw a rotten fish, that would be good. And then perhaps you can draw a sheep's head, because that's also what we like to eat.
Sheep's head?
Yeah.
Oh, fun.
And you can draw a great big cauldron of porridge, because we eat porridge.
Cauldron?
Porridge.
Cauldron. Like
Cauldron.
a cauldron? But like a witch's cauldron, or like a pot?
Like a pot.
Okay.
I do not, I speak English well, yeah.
That's the black cauldron again.
And finally, we eat a lot of rocks, so you can draw that.
Rocks.
Yeah, and what's the opposite of a rotten fish?
Good living fish in the ocean. Swimming over.
No, that's too obvious.
Oh, okay.
Rotten birds.
An eaten fish.
Okay, I get you. What about a health freak ostrich? Yeah, and because they're running around all the time, they're not rotten at all. And
Are we supposed to draw that?
yeah, you can draw that.
Yay!
And the opposite of a sheep's head, I would say a politician's head, but that's kind of the same. A teacher's head, that's also the same. A cow's butt. Would that do?
I think that's exactly what I would have
The
said.
cow's butt is the opposite of the sheep's head. And the opposite of a cauldron of porridge would be good food.
Hot Pockets.
Hot pockets.
Hot pocket.
Hot pockets. I do not know what a hot pocket is.
Oh, we'll have to get you some
Oh
later.
my gosh, they're wonderful.
I don't know.
And the opposite of rocks.
Wait, okay, what was
That's like a
the...
thick person.
Right, hot pockets. How do you draw those?
Yeah, draw the hot
Draw
pocket.
a
Little
little
puppy. Where?
Stuffed in someone's pocket.
I do love the word hot pocket. And the opposite of rocks.
Squirrel.
Say it.
Squirrels. I have no idea how that links together, but yes, awesome. Squirrels.
Squirrel with a chainsaw.
Okay. Now you need to start combining these to see if it's easier to combine stuff when you have the opposites. You don't need to combine all of them, just some of them, and come up with new some silliness.
Here we go.
He's on a
What
platform.
is happening here?
So basically, pineapples in hot
You're
pockets,
a hell.
Yeah, as they do.
which is illegal.
Yes.
So-
Oh.
They catch
What?
him, and the king orders him to be executed
I like oh no.
Sad. No.
by
it
being
was a-
dropped in lava by a ridiculously buff dude.
Which is the proper American form of execution. That is King George of Ann Arbor, isn't it?
Yes,
You have a
precisely.
King
How'd
George
you guess?
Street, so you have to have a King George, right?
Something like that.
We have streets after all our kings.
And
Okay, and the end. What happens in the end?
he's about to be dropped in.
So you cheated and did
Pineapple
the end before the end, but that's very good. I like the story anyhow. To get this to be a story, we need to pull a twist in it, and that it needs to be something opposite of what you are expecting to happen. So remember where we left our jailbreak drama. It was with me in a barn and a farmer with that I didn't actually draw, with a chainsaw that I didn't actually draw. And the twist is pretty obvious. It's that he uses the chainsaw to cut my handcuffs, and then we all go to the water bear park. And eat as much water bear to make us good and full, and that would be about 5 billion water bears. So the happy ending is a water bear genocide of incomprehensible proportions. Okay, so that's. I think that this is probably a Oscar-worthy story. And I won't actually bother to draw the last thing because I'm so lazy. That's what